Hi, and welcome back to another video, Codependency Recovery Breakthrough. Hey, welcome back to another video. My name is Katie Short, and I'm a coach with the Codependency Institute. So let's talk about what is a codependent friendship. Let's talk about, is my friendship toxic? Let's talk about what a healthy friendship is. In this video, I'm also going to go over how to heal from a friendship breakup, whether it was something that you wanted or not. And I'm gonna go over how to meet new friends, attract healthy friends as well. So I'm gonna go over a few different types of codependent friendship dynamics. Just like in romantic relationships, there's codependent patterns that can happen. If you don't know your codependency pattern, I encourage you to take the attachment personality test. It's basically a codependency test. It's like, what's your codependency personality? And I'm gonna link that below. That is gonna tell you so much about possibly what you could be bringing to the table. And before we go into these codependent friendship types, what an unhealthy relationship or toxic relationship could look like, I want to encourage you to dig deep and don't be afraid to humble out and look inside of yourself and ask yourself, have you ever been one of these things? I just know for myself, I have been some of these things, unfortunately. Not always, but it takes two to tango. And just like with life, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you find yourself being codependent in a romantic relationship, I didn't know this before I took the Codependency Breakthrough course, but what I found is that if you're codependent in one area, then you're literally codependent all throughout your life. So if you're codependent with your relationships, your romantic ones, you're codependent with friendships. You're codependent in the workplace. You're codependent with your career in some ways. You're codependent with your family. As we're going through this, yes, this is going to kind of discern the friendship you're in. Are they exhibiting some of these patterns? But also don't be afraid to bite the bullet and just realize, hey, I might be a piece of this puzzle. I might be a piece of why this friendship isn't the healthiest, or why it's gone on for too long, or why it's straight up toxic. First dynamic I want to talk about is people pleasing. And this is a very, very common one in friendships. Friendship dynamics could look like not feeling like there's a safe space to bring your opinion to the table, whether it comes to something that might be controversial like politics, or if you just feel like you can't really speak your mind and be authentic, and because they might react a certain way, or they might not approve of you or accept you, or they might reject you, or they might not be your friend anymore. It's just that fear of, if I do this, they won't like me. And if that's coming up a lot in your friendships, that might be a pattern that's happening. Not wanting to say or do certain things because I don't want to upset them, and I don't want them to be mad at me. I don't want our friendship to change. And especially if it's something reasonable, ask yourself, like, why are you tiptoeing around this person? Why are you strategizing of how to interact with them and how to talk with them so that you won't set them off? Or if you're afraid that saying something that's authentic to you, especially if it's kind and reasonable, if you're afraid that that opinion or that share is gonna basically result in a blow up, then that could be a friendship dynamic that you're experiencing right now. And I've definitely been on the side of this one where I've been the people pleaser in the relationship, for sure. I think every single friendship I have from the past, those kind of thoughts go through my mind. Also, something with people pleasing with friendships is if they do or say something that hurts your feelings and you feel like you can't bring it up, or else they're gonna get mad at you, or they're gonna be upset with you, or you're afraid the friendship is gonna be affected. If there's no space for you to communicate your feelings or boundaries or just be authentically you, then that is a people-pleasing dynamic, and that is a codependent friendship. Ooh, doing all the work. Have you ever been in a friendship where you're the one putting all the effort in and they're really not? You might not even realize it. I know for me, I had multiple friendships, and this is when I had my codependency breakthrough and my awakening. I realized I'm the one doing it all. I'm the one initiating hangouts, and I'm the one listening to them. I'm the one empathizing with them. What I did, because I got into this program and I realized, look, I want people to put effort toward me as well. I don't want to be over functioning in my friendships. And I decided to take a step back in a few of my friendships and kind of just look and see if I don't initiate a hangout or initiate contact, are they doing that ever? And I have a few friendships that I have had for some of them, multiple decades, 20 plus years. And I found that when I didn't initiate contact or quality time, that there was nothing on their end for literally months and years. So that was very revealing and very hard for me to accept, that basically I'd been the one to keep the friendship afloat, and I thought it was an amazing, deep, healthy friendship. And then I realized this is definitely uneven with who's putting forth the effort. Do I want people that are gonna give little to no effort and that I'm gonna have to be the one giving all the effort? No, I wanna feel loved. I wanna feel pursued by friends as well. I want to feel pursued by a romantic relationship. I want to feel pursued by my friends. I want to feel mutuality. I want to feel loved. I want to feel appreciated. And that isn't happening in that dynamic when it's like 99%, 1%. Obviously, it's not the 50-50 mindset. It's not keeping score or anything like that. But you can feel it when you push the brakes for a minute and they still are, hey, just thinking of you, how you been, like, let's get something on the calendar. Or if they're just never reaching out. If you're someone who struggles with codependency and that's something you are in recovery for or exploring, you're gonna find that you're gonna be recreating your entire world, your relationships with yourself, with your spouse or significant other, with your family, and with your friends. There might be some radical changes that happen, and that is not only normal and okay and common and a secret struggle that a lot of people go through, but it's something that's so necessary to breaking through to find healthy friendships. If those unhealthy friendships and you've had those patterns, it's okay to let go. You have permission to let go. Basically had the same friends, and the same friends went to my school and my church, and it was definitely like this really tight group. And it was only these past couple years since I've gone through this codependency recovery journey that these friendships of decades and decades kind of revealed themselves. And I don't think of as I lost friends. I really find that my healing revealed if the friendships were healthy or not. And that's something to keep in mind, is that this isn't necessarily rejection, it's a revelation. It's not always forever. That's the thing about, BFFs, let's be friends forever. You just can't know that. I wish it could be like that. And sometimes it is, and hang on to those friends. They're very special, those lifelong soul sisters. People come in our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And sometimes we think it's gonna be a lifetime, but it might have been a season. It might have been a very long season. It might have been 10 years, 12 years, 20 years, like my own friendship experiences. Another friendship dynamic that is codependent and unhealthy is the avoidant friend. This is when something comes up in your friendship and they are not communicating with you, it's under the rug, or there is some sort of avoidance, there's time off needed, maybe they're off gossiping about your situation to other friends. That can be really hurtful and it could be really toxic. Or if you don't have a safe space to come up and bring something up, maybe something hurt your feelings and you want to share that with them, but there's just not a safe space for that. You can feel and you have a fear of, are they gonna abandon me or are they gonna reject me if I share this? And a healthy relationship has space for people sharing their feelings and compromising and empathizing and just meeting people where they're at and not running at the first sight of conflict, because conflict is needed. Conflict, especially constructive conflict that you can really get into it. How does something make you feel? Cause and effect. What do you need? How can I apologize? How can I give you what you need? Those conversations are so crucial, and especially the older you get as an adult, like if you're not having conversations at times and you're calling someone a best friend and there's no place for that, like if they say something to hurt you, or maybe you said something or did something that hurt them, and it's not brought up and resolved verbally. It's just maybe it comes out in other ways of them ignoring you or ghosting you or not inviting you places. And that's very hurtful, especially if it's over something that is minor. Maybe something smaller happened and it's building up over time and it's festering. Sometimes things can fester and there's just not that healthy communication. It kind of was a cycle of we're really close, we're besties, we're thick as thieves, and then something happens, there's no communication about it, or something was misunderstood over text, and then there's needing all this space, and then enough space, then we miss each other, then we basically get back together. And it's just this cycle of like toxicity, and it's hurtful for both sides. These friendships are the roller coaster friendships that go from super high highs. It's a trauma bond. Oh my gosh, it's a trauma bond. But yeah, just super, super close to like we broke up. And then, oh my gosh, we're back. And now we don't talk at all. And something Coach Heidi said is that if there's a relationship that you're in that's always needing these breaks from each other, and maybe there's that cycle going on, that's not healthy. That's not something that is positive, and that could be a codependent dynamic.
It's never gonna change.
I wish it did, but I've gone through that cycle enough times before my codependency breakthrough program, and then after just realizing it's time to release that. Release is a key word here. Detach from it and come to a place of neutral. Another pattern is, are you always the one rescuing? So this can be the fixer personality pattern showing up in friendships. And you're researching and you're trying to strategize on how to fix this cycle that's happening, and you see this repeating, that's a sign right there that it's toxic. You might have Googled or searched up how to get over a toxic friendship or how to heal your toxic friendship. There's kind of that victim fixer dynamic. So if there's that rescuing dynamic, but when it comes to your feelings and needs, and when it comes to your time of need, they're not there. That's unfortunately a codependent and unhealthy dynamic. And it can be really, really sad to realize like you're listening to all their troubles, you're their free therapist, you're validating them, you're empathizing them, you're talking on the phone for hours with them. And then the minute you share something that you need to vent, then all of a sudden they don't have time, or they bring it back to themselves, or it just overwhelms them to the point of they can't be there for you. It's not an equity friendship.
Controller.
In this friendship pattern, someone might be trying to change you in a major way. They might be trying to have a huge input on who you date, what you do, or what you wear. I've been on both sides of this coin for sure, but for me, where it's come up in my life is just friends who have this extreme opinion on who I'm dating. I need to get their approval, and just if it's not someone they approve of, there's a lot of shame involved, and just there's this constant it's me or them, any of that kind of stuff. Or you're not even asking for it, and if you don't do it their way, or if you are not thinking, believing, or doing or acting in how they want for you, then there's a problem. That could be a controlling friendship. And that's not healthy, and that could be toxic. How do you want to feel? Again, ask yourself, how do you want to feel in a friendship? Do you want to feel free? Do you want to feel controlled? Do you want to feel loved and embraced? Or do you want to feel judged and condemned and criticized? Another codependent pattern or just kind of dynamic is, are you too close with your friend? Are you ride or die, which I used to say as a badge of honor, but I realize now is like codependent. Do you take, it can be the clinger pattern. Do you take pride in being ride or die to the grave? I mean, it's a false sense of closeness. That's kind of really what's going on. And I've had one main friendship like this where, I don't know, we were so close. Like there was an enmeshment going on there. There was just really a lot of emotional dependence, talked every day, all day, then stemmed up like jealousy. If there was other friendships that I hung out with, did they come to me and say, I'm jealous of you? No, but you can feel when someone isn't supportive of you spending time with someone else, and that's toxic. That's not healthy. So is that going on in your friendship? Because it's sad, because those are the ones that, especially if you're in it, can feel you can feel really, really close. You can feel like they're your partner in crime, like your ride or die. Like you feel like they're your friendship soulmate and that they're never gonna leave you. And we all, especially people who struggle with the clinger codependent pattern, you fear abandonment and rejection. And so your whole goal is to make sure people never leave you. So you try and double down on how close and ride or die you are. But then it's all a sham. It's a floor made of ice. And when it gets hot out, the ice, it's like a lake of ice and it breaks very quickly. If that's something you are going through or have gone through, I just want to give you an extra hug because it is just, it's so sad and it's so hurtful and it's really, really hard. It's really tough. It's super heartbreaking if that doesn't continue on and you have that friendship breakup, or especially when you really let that person in and you really were extremely close. And I'm here for you. If you want to talk about it, I have a link below to do a 30-minute discovery call, but it can also just be a connection call to be there for you. And it's good to talk with someone about these things. If any of these dynamics and patterns are happening, deep down, you might be questioning the authenticity of your friendship, especially maybe now that you're aware of them. And if you're questioning it, there's something there to pursue. Another marker to look at is, do you feel drained after spending time with them, or do you feel better or worse about yourself after you spend time with them? That right there will tell you everything you need to know. Also, is there a competitive dynamic in your friendship? And of course, it's okay to have a little healthy competition. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like, is it competitive? Is there jealousy? Is it just that feeling of like you're secretly trying to impress them and trying to kind of make them feel bad? Or do you think they always have to one-up you? That's gonna make both parties walking away feeling worse about themselves, and that's also toxic. Another thing to look at is someone in the friendship always flaking, not following through? Are you not a priority to them? This friendship is unhealthy or toxic or codependent. What do we do with that? What now? Whether it be you having a conversation and releasing the friendship, or doing inner work to detach from that friendship and also really honor the memories, that's the way to go. Something that has really helped me is being in the Codependency Breakthrough program, which has a bunch of different modules, group session with a master mentor moderating it. And you can share with people who have gone through similar things, and you can actually go through something called the rapid detachment method, which is literally the most brilliant thing ever. I'm not going to be going over it because it'd be a whole other video, but it's inside this program. And this is what's really going to help you honor the ways that you were a victim in that situation, acknowledge how they should have been and the gap between what happened and how it should have been, and accept radically who they really, really are, and ask yourself if that makes you feel how you want to feel in your life. And you can radically accept who they are and release them, and not have a righteous expectation that they are someone that they aren't. Not have this expectation that things are going to change when they're not. And that's how you can really honor yourself and have come to compassion for them, and really release them and detach in a way that now I've done this with a few friendships that had friendship breakups or whatever. And I'm to the point where I'm like neutral positive. I have been to the point where I feel super resentful, angry, but then you do that rapid detachment method, and it's like, I don't feel anything when I drive past their street because I'm in the same damn town that I've always been in. I don't feel resentment. I don't feel hurt anymore. I also don't feel like, oh, I still wish we were friends. It's like, I wish them the best, but I want friends that love me, really, really love me, and I want to feel good with my friendship. So I don't want that person in my life anymore. But it's like almost just it's like someone saying, oh, look, there's a cloud. It's like, oh, okay. There's no major emotions going on. And that's really the most peaceful place to be. Time helps. I don't think time alone is gonna fix it. That's kind of putting it under the rug and just letting it hang there. But if you're doing the rapid detachment method and you're combining time with it, it does help. It does get better, it really does. Time does help in this situation. And I think also a certain amount of self-control and self-discipline. I would encourage anyone who's really trying to get over a friendship, hide their socials. Don't be seeing them all the time. Kind of out of sight, out of mind, but also really give space for those negative emotions like sadness and heartbreak. Like, give space for that. Go through the old photos, cry, journal, like just take that space and grieve the friendship, because you're gonna have to grieve it. It's like a death, it's like a loss sometimes. But also, especially as those reminders, those memories come up, that song comes up that reminds you of them, much like a breakup with romantic breakup, you can choose in your mind to go down that path and get sad all over again. I'm talking months and years later. Or you can choose to have self-discipline and control your thoughts. And do I still want to go and see what these friends are up to and go on their socials? Yeah, sometimes I have those thoughts, but I manage it because I know that that's gonna make me sad. And once you've truly processed it, you don't need to keep revisiting it, because I find that, especially people who are codependent, your brain chemistry can get used to misery and want to go back to feeling misery over and over and over. Be aware when your brain's trying to go there, right? When I started going down this codependency journey and really doing the self-work, that's literally the exact timeline of when I started losing friends. Not all of them, but I'm talking, if I had 20 friends, maybe it's gone down to more like 5 to 10. So yeah, a good amount of change in there, and it's normal, it's common, it gets a little lonely for a little, so expect that and prep for it. I really encourage you to find a community for codependency recovery. I know I've found mine with Codependency Breakthrough and the Codependency Institute, and if this is on your heart, or if you feel connected to the words I'm saying and my personality and all that, I encourage you to click the link below and we can start a discovery call and see if you're a good candidate for that, because that's something that we're right now open to new enrollment. So that's exciting. But find that community, because it's gonna get lonely and you don't wanna be doing that alone, because you're not alone. There is resources, there's people that are amazing and gonna be healthy. And also I wanna encourage you that the more recovery and the more growth that you do, you are going to find a new tribe. You're gonna attract new friends that, because you're being your authentic self, are gonna be the most amazing soul sisters and just kindred spirits, and not in like a clingy, like, let's ride or die and like, will you be my friend forever? No, it doesn't have to be that intense. It's more just, they get you. They're going through the same things. It's honestly like words can't describe how those friendships feel. And let me tell you, since I've really started and been doing this work, friends have come to me through the most random things. I met a friend on TikTok because I started making videos as my authentic self. And she's an amazing person, and she's good with boundaries, and she's like would be a healthy friend. I mean, we're still growing our friendship, but I'm just so excited, because you will rebuild new friendships, you'll meet new people, especially if you're putting yourself out there, and they're gonna be better than the friendships that you had before, because you're not tiptoeing, you're not people pleasing, you're not being controlled or trying to control, you're not being fixed or trying to fix. It's literally balanced. Another way to test a litmus test for friendships is boundary conversations. So if you're sharing with a friend, I feel hurt when you talk behind my back to other people, and I want to feel trust. And if you keep talking behind my back, I'm gonna have to reevaluate our friendship. So that's an example of a boundary conversation in a neutral tone. And if they can't handle that and they're flipping out and it's lighting a fire and they're just not receiving that, then that tells you everything you need to know. Whereas a healthy friendship would hear that and validate that. Wow, I'm hearing that you feel hurt right now. I didn't realize that you were getting hurt, and I can stop talking behind your back. I want you to feel trust. See how that feels healthier versus someone could be gaslighting you. Can they handle a boundary conversation? If they can't, that's a litmus test right there. Can they grow in the seasons with you? Can they love you, accept you, and embrace you for who you are and who you're becoming? That's so huge. Some people have had friends when they were in elementary school, and now they're in their late 20s and have kids. How many seasons was that? Through high school, college, being single, being in a relationship, having kids. Can this friend move through the seasons with you, support you? Are you feeling good after interacting with them over time? There's those amazing friendships that adapt with who you're becoming and support what you're learning and maybe how you're changing and growing. And that doesn't mean you're not you anymore. That doesn't, that's a very black and white that's in the box way of thinking. Oh, you're not like you used to be type thing. You've changed, as if it's a negative thing. And I'm talking when people have changed for the positive. Not everyone's gonna respond positively to you growing in a positive direction. Especially if you're really taking your codependency recovery by the reins, you're gonna become your authentic self. You're gonna grow in confidence. You're finally gonna have your voice. And people aren't used to hearing your voice. People liked people pleaser Katie. That's why I had 400,000 friends and was like ASB president at one point, because I got so good at people pleasing that I knew exactly what everyone wanted. That's not gonna be for everyone. Like, your authentic self is not gonna be everyone's cup of tea. So the goal shouldn't be to be everyone's cup of tea, because then that's when you lose yourself. It just feels so amazing when you find this friendship, because you get to share, hey, this is how I'm learning. This is who I'm becoming. I'm finding myself more and more and more. And they're just thumbs up, high-fiving you, so stoked for you, versus those friendships that are like, did they really like you? Or did they like who you portrayed yourself as? So as you become more empowered and in your codependency recovery, you're gonna become you. You're going to be more and more your authentic self. You do have to reintroduce yourself sometimes. I know my codependent pattern is the pretender. I was extremely good at being a chameleon. I would adapt and acquiesce to the social situation. And the transition can be really hard for people too on their end. When they do get to know the real you, they might feel hurt that you weren't authentic to them. So that's part of it too. I think that's a really big lesson that I learned, is like, I've hurt people's feelings by not being my authentic self, by trying to pretend and please and just impress people too much and not be my authentic self. Now when they meet the real me, they feel betrayed. They feel lied to. And that can hurt friendships. So I very much am also looking into what is my part in this. I'm so excited for this journey for you. I hope some of this content helped and added value, and I hope you feel not alone in this journey. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and take the attachment personality test, and click the link and let's get a discovery call scheduled. I'm super excited to meet you. Thanks for watching. Bye.